So welcome back to another rebuild here on NBA 2K24 Next Gen. In today's video, we are back with yet another rebuild challenge, and today is 25 and under. This one is about as self-explanatory as it gets. The way this one is going to work is we're going to go ahead and do a fantasy draft. After the fantasy draft, we have to make sure our entire 10-man rotation is 25 years old or younger, with the end goal obviously being winning a championship. Now, this is a challenge I have done in previous 2Ks. Surprised I actually hadn't done it so far this year. We have already done the 30-plus-year-old rebuild challenge, which is actually one I consider a little bit harder. Today, 25 and younger, with the goal, as we just talked about, a championship by the end of year 3. As always, let me know any other video ideas down below in the comment section, whether they're challenges, throwback rebuilds, whatever it may be that you guys are really wanting to see before 2K25 comes out in just a short few weeks. Let me hear it down below there, and I will try to get to every single thing you guys do want to see. So excited about this one today, man. We'll talk a little bit more about it once we get in the video, and yeah, wish me luck, my friends. Let's get into it. All right, so as you can see, we are here loaded into the team selection menu. We are going to go ahead, close the eyes in just a second, randomly select a team. Something else I do want to note, I didn't really talk about it in the intro. It's probably relatively obvious, but if for whatever reason some player on this team, turns 26 years old at the end of the season and I don't realize it or whatever, I have to let them go for nothing. I cannot just go ahead and trade them at that point. That would be a screw up on my part. So we're going to go ahead and randomly select a team. Now the eyes are closed. We're going to start scrolling and we are going to stop 3, 2, and 1. We're going to end up with the Toronto Raptors as our team today. Now, we're going to go ahead, see what we got here. We are not going to be making any selections just to make this one a little bit more challenging. We'll get into some trades after that. Let's go ahead and send this draft. You and I are going to take a look at this team for the first time together. Of course, we are probably going to have to make several trades before we kick off year 1, considering that 2K never really drafts young talent for me, and it appears they actually did something good today because the 2 star players leading this team are both 22 years old. That being Tyrese Maxey and Franz Wagner. I guess 2K is being somewhat nice to me today, and I am always going to be very thankful when that happens. So we'll talk about this entire roster. Obviously, just discuss Tyrese Maxey a little bit. 22 years of age. If the math is correct, he arguably could be the guy leading the charge the entirety of today's video. We got Deuce McBride here, 23 years old. We'll have to keep an eye on that as the years progress, but certainly a solid backup point guard option as things stand right now. Kemba Walker, who is of course now retired from basketball, will not be getting minutes on this team for a couple different reasons, really just because he has 2 more talented players ahead of him, but obviously him being 33 years old kind of hinders that. All right, as we move over to the shooting guard spot, I am a very, very big fan of Herb Jones. If you guys have been watching my videos for a long time, you guys all know that. I absolutely love the way this man plays basketball. Unfortunately, he is 25, and if it was year 3, I could probably ride it out and say, hey, you know what, one final season, who really cares at 25 years old, but that is not the case. So unfortunately, we will probably be trading Herbert Jones. I saw Norman Powell right here. Herbert Jones before we actually sim a game. Now Norman Powell, who's 30, going to have to be moved. Lindy Waters, the third, 26. Same thing about him. Franz Wagner, going to be the second best player on this team, at least the second highest overall according to 2K. He is 22 and similar to Maxey, very well could be here the entire time. Simone Fontecchio is somebody who I think could be a nice rotation piece. Unfortunately, the age here kind of does hinder that a little bit. We move to the power forward spot. 3 pretty decent options with Bobby Portis Jr., Dario Saric, and DFS. Unfortunately, age is not going to be working for me. And then we move over to the center spot. My freaking GOAT, Luke Cornett, Goga Batazde, and Udoka Azubuike. 2 of the 3, meet the age requirement for 1 season, but they are both expiring deals, and I would like to look for a little bit of an upgrade anyways. So we certainly have our work cut out for us here within year 1, but I am very happy that 2K was somewhat nice to me today. Let's get into some trades. Trade number 1 of today's video is going to be a deal with the Phoenix Suns, and it is going to land us another 22-year-old, this time in Cam Thomas. Now, I know I got Cam Thomas at a rebuild just the other day, and although I am not a fan of, getting players multiple times within the same week or anything like that, unfortunately, compared to the other offers, this one is pretty much gold. So, Herb Jones, Lindy Waters, the third, 2024 second-round pick, heading to Phoenix for Cam Thomas in a 2027 first. And yes, before you ask, I did remember to turn off previously traded draft picks. So that is one trade of what will likely be very many before we kick off year 1. For whatever reason, Jalen Duren is not historically somebody that's very challenging to trade for. Now, I like Jalen Duren. I think he's going to be a really solid center in this league for a very long time. He's an 83 overall, and the best part about it is he is 19 years old, so we could easily have him as our starting 5 throughout the entirety of today's video. Now, I'm offering up Dario Saric and Kemba Walker, who are both 2 stars in value for whatever reason. I'm not really sure. Jalen Duren's only 3 stars. I am sure there is a way to maybe work something out here. Now, it's probably going to have to include a couple different picks. picks, but I would be willing to sacrifice, I think, at least one first, because at the end of the day, this is going to be our guy that is going to be our center for the rest of this video. So hopefully one more second. Shit. Now I kind of have to be a little bit picky with what I do here. How would I include Luke Cornett? They can't do that. Are there any players on this team? Dariq Whitehead has 2 stars in value, so that's certainly not going to help us. Let's just see. Jacob Gilliard. No. All right, it might have to include another first-round pick. Not my favorite thing in the world, but we can continue to load up on draft picks at some point in time. But we got our guy here, obviously, at the center spot here in Jalen Duren. We now need to find ourselves a power forward before we work on the bench. Next up is going to be a deal with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Well, a deal potentially. We're offering up Bobby Portis Jr. for Jalen Johnson. Ultimately, if we can get some sort of swap involved here for our power forwards, I think it would be a really, really good way to kind of, I don't want to say wrap up the starting 5, but we are certainly approaching that territory if this was to be a trade. So Bobby Portis Jr. for Jalen Johnson, 1-for-1 swap. They are not going to take it, but they want Luke Cornett, and they'll actually give me Noah Clowney, who's 19. It's like they know exactly what I need. Beautiful. Don't have to go up a single draft pick and potentially get our guy at that 4 spot for the remainder of today's video. So I think, if my math is correct, our starting 5 is complete, and it is. Now we have a couple trades to work on the bench unit. Of course, all set at the point guard spot here with 23-year-old Deuce McBride backing up Tyrese Maxey. Clearly have to find something out here at the shooting guard spot. Small forward spot as well. Same with power forward. And honestly, I'm just going to let Noah Clowney run the backup center spot. So that, kind of sorts that out. We have now turned our attention to the bench unit. The Oklahoma City Thunder are willing to trade us Peyton Watson, who is 21 years of age, for Goga Batazde and Dorian Finney-Smith. In this deal, we are also getting a 2026 first-round draft pick. 2K is being very nice to me today. I always love when this happens because it is so rare. Now we have our entire front court figured out. We really just need to find ourselves a backup shooting guard and a backup small forward. We are going to land ourselves Keon Ellis here in a deal with the Utah Jazz. Now, 23 years of age. It would have been nice if we got, say, a 20 or 21-year-old, but we have a couple years here with Keon, and he's on an absolutely fantastic contract. So, Simone Fontecchio, Doka Azubuike, and a 2028 second heading to Utah for Ellis. We're also landing Wenyen Gabriel in this deal. So, at this point, we have 9 out of 10 rotation spots set. Really, all we got to do is find a backup here for Franz Wagner. I have no idea what the progression is going to look like for Jet Howard, but one thing I do know is he is young enough to potentially be a rotation piece for the entirety of this video. And although I strongly considered an offer here from the New York Knicks that would have landed us Corey Kispert, he is 24 years old, and we absolutely know without a doubt that he would have to be gone within the 3-year window. So we're going to take a little bit of a risk, maybe a little bit of a project here, if you will, in Jet Howard, but he is at that age where there's certainly a lot of room for development, and we're not giving up a ton of value to land the 20-year-old. So that concludes our 10-man rotation. Ultimately, we're going to have some guys, as 11th, 12th, 13th men on this bench that are not going to play. They'll be out of the rotation, but they will be 25 plus years old in all likelihood. It is what it is. I'm not going to waste draft picks and other capital in order to land guys that aren't really going to play. So we have our 10-man rotation at this point. If anybody's interested in Wenyen Gabriel, I'm not going to be keeping him on this team. So if anybody wants to give me a first, I'll take it, and nobody really does. Actually, is there anybody here that's under, potentially multi-year deal under 25? City Sissoko, actually, I will do this because, you know what? It's going to be either an asset or just another young piece that we could have just chilling on the bench. So let's go ahead and set that rotation. Whole lot of trades have officially been made, but we have set ourselves up for what I think can be a very successful year one. Now, I don't know if we're going to be completing this challenge here in year one. I think there is certainly some work we can still do to make this team even better come off-season time, but this should be a competitive group that is ready to win some basketball games. It is Tyrese Maxey, Cam Thomas, Franz Wagner, Jalen Johnson, and Jalen Duren as our 1 through 5. I actually cannot believe how well this all kind of came together. I know we did give up some future draft picks, but ultimately, this is a very young team, obviously, and this is going to be a team that's going to do nothing but progress. Got Deuce McBride as my 6th man off the bench, Keon Ellis, Peyton Watson, Noah Clowney, and then Jet Howard rounding out our 10-man rotation. So I just want to check real quick, just so we are all on the same page. Tyrese Maxey is 22, Wagner is 22, McBride is 23, 22, 19, 21, 19, 21, 23, Howard's 20, and then Sissoko is 19. All set. Everybody here is 25 or younger. I actually think the oldest player we have is 23, so maybe even taking the challenge to the next level, if you will. But we are obviously in a great spot right now. I will see you guys at the end of year one. I'd say year one was okay. We wrapped it up with a record of 44-38. Now, while I thought this could easily be a 50-plus win team, obviously 2K did not agree with me. Let's get into some awards. Luka Doncic, 38.5 points a game, takes home the MVP award. Wemby is your DPOY. He is in Milwaukee. Yusuf Nurkic, your 6th man. You don't really ever see that one whether it's fantasy draft, regular rebuild, whatever it is. So good for you. Wemby also wins DPOY in his rookie season. Jalen Johnson does win most improved. I'm leaving here with something. That's all I'm going to say. Most improved to Mr. Johnson. Kyrie Irving, clutch player of the year. And Steve Kerr, still hitting that same stupid fucking pose he's been hitting for years, is your coach of the year. All right, let's go ahead and talk about it. We ended up as the 5 seed here in the Eastern Conference. We're going to have the Philadelphia 76ers in the first round. We'll take a look at their team in just a second. Let's go over some of the numbers. Obviously, a young group here. See how everybody performed. Maxey was incredible. Cam Thomas. So those are our 2 20-plus point per game guys. Franz Wagner, Jalen Duren, Johnson, McBride, Clowney, Ellis, Watson, and Mr. Howard. Rebounds, we were led by Duren, and assists was Wagner. So, round 1 of the playoffs. We are battling here with the Philadelphia 76ers. Let's take a look at their team right now. Jalen Brunson, Josh Giddey, Andrew Wiggins, Jakob Pearl. You got Şengün here. CJ off the bench. Wow. This is a talented 4 seed. I will say that without a doubt. We are 1-1 right now with them. We go up 2-1, 2-2, up 3-2, and we close them out in 6. We are now moving on to the 8 seed Hornets, who upset the 1 seed Orlando Magic. Wow. Devin Booker, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Gigi Jackson, Aaron Gordon, Jared Allen. You got Hartenstein, Duncan Robinson, Bol Bol off the bench. Solid squad there. I think they're probably about it. I'd say they're 6, 7 seed, but I mean they're an 8 seed obviously, but they are talented to be that. And we end up losing them, so maybe a little bit of a Cinderella kind of Miami-esque play-in run for them here, as they are not going to be in the finals. It is Giannis and the Warriors versus SGA and the Pistons. Ends up being SGA, and yeah, Finals MVP. God damn. All right, all things considered, pretty decent year 1, right? Made it to the second round of the playoffs. Definitely have something to build upon. Now, something we do have to talk about. We are going to have to really see how we value draft picks because, this is a little bit different than the 30-plus-year-old rebuild in the fact that I can actually use draft picks. And not only can I use them, they're actually even more valuable because these can be rotation pieces for me, whereas the 30-plus-year-old rebuild, they are nothing but trade pieces. Jersey retirements, let's hit the draft lottery. I don't think we traded for anything that could potentially be a lottery pick, so let's sim through that. It is going to be, I know I'm trying to see the Raptors. We have our first, right? Oh, yes, we do. It's at number 22. Now, this is the 2024 draft, if you were wondering. This is, the draft that just happened in real life. Darko Rajankovic, horrible names, you all know that. But the ratings are actually pretty good, and I'd say we had a solid enough season to keep him on as our guy. So as we approach the 2024 draft, we have the 22nd overall pick, and I'm actually going to use it. I don't know if this player is going to play. I have absolutely no idea. Nikola Topic is just sitting here. Wow. Well, I know we basically have our guy in Deuce McBride at the backup point guard spot, but as the worst, I feel like, or maybe do I go with Kel Ware? I'm taking Kel Ware. I actually think he could be more valuable at that backup center spot. I really do. He's a 74 overall. Obviously, this game hates Jalen Duren. It's so weird. They make him pretty much not valuable at all in the trade finder. They don't even automatically pick up his less than $5 million annual team option. It's just very, very weird, the hate this game has for a 20-year-old. Obviously, qualifying Tyrese Maxey as we enter free agency right here. Our one and really kind of only free agent is Maxey. Now, he does have a 3-year, $16 million offer from the Grizzlies, but we're just going to pay the man. Another benefit to this is we're going to obviously have a lot of cap space because a lot of the guys are on their rookie contracts. I can look around, but the other kind of thing you have to realize is that a lot of guys that are 25 or younger are going to be restricted free agents. So just kind of glancing real quick, I see Emmanuel Quickly, Nick Claxton, who are both 25. Yeah, they're great players, but I don't really think it makes a lot of sense. Could go after a guy like Jalen Smith, but we did just go ahead and draft Ware. So, how much sense does any of this really make? So let me first and foremost get Tyrese Maxey back. So that is all set. We had Uncle Jeff here on the team. Oh my God. But obviously important to get Tyrese Maxey back. I know everybody else here is still under contract. So if we wanted to, we could run this thing back. Now, would it be the worst thing in the world to potentially consider an upgrade somewhere? Wouldn't be absolutely stupid. I would consider, but I'm not going to force the issue because, of course, we do have to consider that this is a very talented 1 through 10 that we're working with right now. Before we discuss this trade, I just want to make it very, very clear that I am not trading Cam Thomas, or at least attempting to trade Cam Thomas due to his performance. He was really good for us, right? Ended up averaging close to 21 points a game, I think. But we could look for an upgrade now while we still have the opportunity, while we still have the cap space. I think this makes all the sense in the world because Jalen Green is somebody who I know progresses even further, and he's certainly somebody that I think has a little bit of a higher ceiling than Thomas. So Cam Thomas is an absolute bucket, don't get me wrong. Getting a little bit more size at our shooting guard spot is definitely not a bad idea. So I am potentially including Noah Clowney and City Sissoko in this deal, really because they are young pieces that could have some value, whereas if I had to include nothing but draft picks, that could end up getting a little bit dicey with just how many we do have. That being said, we may have to include 3 draft picks anyways. It actually only takes 1, and we now have ourselves a new shooting guard here in Jalen Green. So very excited about that. We take a look at this team. There's nobody that's even 25 yet, so we can kind of just run this thing if we wanted to. Now, I will just kind of glance here at some of the free agents, just do another quick check. Like, is there anybody 23, 24 years old that I could have serious interest in? Not a good human being, so no. Taylor Horton-Tucker, no. Yeah, I mean, a guy like Isaac Okoro actually wouldn't be bad, because then we could give Jett Howard maybe a year in the G League. So you know what? I'd actually throw a little bit of money here at Isaac Okoro. If he's interested in maybe taking on, so okay. Why the hell not? I will see you guys at the start of year 2. Started the second season for us here in Toronto. Last year overall, I think it was solid, right? Made it to the second round of the playoffs. We did end up losing to an 8 seed, but it was an 8 seed on a Cinderella run. This offseason, we ended up making an upgrade with Jalen Green. We also added Isaac Okoro, and this is a group that I think will be even better here in year 2. So the one, I guess, major benefit about doing one of these kind of 25 and under rebuilds is that we're going to see a lot of progression for basically everybody, which I'm sure you guys know I love. I love seeing it. Backcourt's very elite. Tyrese Maxey, Jalen Green. You got Franz Wagner at the 3. Still got Jalen Johnson at the 4 and Jalen Duren at the 5. The bench unit will be led by Deuce McBride. Obviously brought in Isaac Okoro. Still got Peyton Watson. Still got Keon Ellis. And Khalil Ware now here as my backup big man. So unfortunately, just cannot really find a spot for Jett Howard right now. He's still on the team, and just in case, I don't know if it's going to matter, but I'll make him like my 11th guy in case they had to sub somebody in or whatever it is, just so we can kind of make sure everything's on the up and up. But this is a team that is obviously going to be competing. We'll check the ages real quick. 23, 22, 23. Aaron Holiday is not playing, so don't worry about him or Svi Mikhailuk or Williams. 23, 24, 20, 22, 22, 24, 21, and 20. So we're good. I will see you guys at the end of year 2 here in Toronto. An even better year 2 for us here in Toronto. We go 56 and 26. I am assuming that is good enough for a top 3 seed in the East, and hopefully we are a serious contender, I'd like to say. SGA coming off a Finals MVP, wins regular season MVP. Alex Sarr, your Rookie of the Year. He is a Portland Trailblazer. Yusuf Nurkic, it's just a 6th Man of the Year candidate every year, I guess. Wemby wins another DPOY. Scoot Henderson, Most Improved. Jaylen Brown, seeing my freaking GOAT in a Lakers jersey. And Darko does win Coach of the Year. So maybe, potentially, 1 seed. We will find out in just a moment. All right, standing time. We are the 1 seed. We are 3 games up on the defending champion Pistons. God, that sounds so weird coming out of my mouth. And it is the best record in all of basketball. As we head over to the season stats, let's see how everybody played. Jalen Green, fantastic addition. Again, there's nothing wrong with Cam Thomas. We were just looking for a little bit of an upgrade. We capitalized while we had that opportunity, and obviously it looks like it's working out for us. Tyrese Maxey, Franz Wagner, Jalen Duren, Johnson, McBride, Ware, Okoro, Watson, and then Ellis. Rebounds, we were led by Jalen Duren, and assists was Mr. Maxey. So we are the 1 seed. We have to be careful. Last year, lost to the 8 seed. And I don't care that there's no, Jimmy Butler or Bam Adebayo here. This is still the Miami Heat. Still got Eric Spoelstra, and they have a pretty talented team. So let's see what ends up happening here in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. We take a quick 2-0 lead against Miami. They do win Game 3 and Game 4. Oh, baby. Up 3-2, going to Game 7. Okay, thank God. We move on to the second round of the playoffs once again. Now taking on the Milwaukee Bucks, who still have Damian Lillard. They've replaced Giannis with Keegan Murray. Oh, fuck. I forgot about this guy right here. Oh, boy. All right. Victor Wembanyama. Shit. They quickly go up 2-1. We are tied at 2-2, go down 3-2, and get bounced in 6. We have only made it to the second round of the playoffs, and, Pistons, another one. This game really likes Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, if you weren't aware. Okay, obviously heading into our final offseason, we have some decisions to make, not only about the personnel on this team, but along with the coaching staff, right? We cannot just, tell ourselves that it's all going to work out, because it may not. We have to see who's available. Let's sim through the lottery. It is the Nuggets, Celtics, Timberwolves, New York Knicks, Orlando Magic. We will skip up to staff signing. Who are the options here to potentially replace? Stauffer's here, and Mazzulla, and Kidd, and Daigneault. All right, goodbye. I need to just make an upgrade. Now, Stauffer would obviously be elite. Also could go after my main man, Joe Mazzulla. And then finally, I'll make an offer. I think I prefer... Well, they have actually identical ratings, so... Actually, they have legitimate identical ratings, but Jason Kidd has a few more badges. So, sure, why not? I don't really know. All right, so we could actually get anybody here. I'm not going to get Stauffer because I feel like I've gotten Stauffer a lot recently, so I'm getting Joe Mazzulla. I like Joe Mazzulla. He's my head coach in real life. Let's head up to the draft. I believe we should... Actually, no, we do not have our first. I'm almost positive about that. we do not. So we'll skip over the draft. I know it's a tool that we've been using to, kind of bolster this team in terms of depth, but we don't really need it right now. The one thing we do need to do is obviously re-sign our guys, but we also need to fully make sure that we are in a position right now where we have maximized the potential here. So, you know what? I know we're going to have some money to spend potentially, but let's just go ahead and pay the guys the money they deserve. Let's say that. So now I actually am going to overpay Jalen Johnson just a smidge. Actually, no, I'm not, because I could potentially be trading for him for somebody on a rookie scale deal. Now, I'm not saying he's the problem with this team. I'm not saying he played poorly for us or anything like that. I think he does fill his role well, but if I'm going to upgrade somebody on this starting five, it is probably going to be him. I also think there's an argument for maybe moving on from Keon Ellis. Now, I know we're entering, the final regular season, but I also don't want somebody being 26 by the time the video ends next year, right? You get that point? So maybe Keon Ellis goes. It's not the end of the world. Right now, we are looking for an upgrade, though. Couple things to go over. First and foremost, we're making a deal here with the Brooklyn Nets. We're swapping Keon Ellis for Colby Jones. Couple picks going back and forth. We're doing this deal because I'm almost positive that Ellis will be 26 by the time, next season ends. And although that's not the end of the world, I'm just trying to, kind of play by the rules a little bit more, if you will. So Jones will obviously not be 25 or 26 years old by the time next season ends. Okay, that is problem one, or not problem one. That is what we've dealt with so far. The problem that I am dealing with right now is I am attempting to trade for one of Evan Mobley or Scotty Barnes. Unfortunately, you can see we're on day 12 of free agency. Mobley has had this offer since day 2. He hasn't accepted it for whatever reason. Maybe it's not up to his standards, and nobody is offering Scotty Barnes a contract. So I am going to have to, in all likelihood, wait until the start of next season. Hopefully at least Mobley signs a deal, because if Barnes doesn't sign a deal, he's still going to ask for damn near $35 million a year in free agency, and then I'm screwed, right? I want to trade for one of them, and right now I can't, which is hindering me a little bit more, because if we look at the power forward options here in free agency for guys that I'm going to limit it to 24 years old right now, right? We're not trading for Paolo in all likelihood. Evan Mobley's not under contract. Jalen Williams just isn't making enough money. Scotty Barnes free agent. And then there's a little bit of a fall off here, right? It wouldn't be the end of the world if we had to trade for one of these three, but I want to give it my best effort. Like, I'll give Paolo a shot, right? I mean, it would be absolutely idiotic. Yeah, this is not happening. So, yeah, man. I'm assuming Jalen Williams isn't making... Oh, well, hang on a second. If I were to include Jet Howard... Yeah, this is where things kind of fall off a little bit. Yeah. It would basically have to just be every single draft pick we have, but I just still don't think it's going to be enough, and it's not. Like, Kel Ware, still making too much money. Colby Jones, still making too much. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's just the reality of the situation we find ourselves in. So I guess it's going to be a little bit of a risk either way, right? Like, do I want to try to maybe trade for a guy like Jabari Smith Jr., who, how big of an upgrade is he really over our guy Jalen Johnson right here? I mean, obviously the overall is a little bit better, but I'm going to risk it a little bit. I'm going to hopefully wait for Mobley or Scotty Barnes right here, and I'll just see you guys at the start of year 3 with a trade. Here at the start of year 3, and unfortunately we are not going to be landing either Evan Mobley or Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes is still in free agency. I have no idea what the hell's going on with this game. It's broken, and then Evan Mobley signed a deal worth about $40 million annually, and we just cannot make the money or players work here because we are at the start of a regular season, and it's much more difficult than an offseason. I do not want to have a long-winded debate about who I'd rather have from Jalen Johnson versus Jonathan Kuminga. Ultimately, Kuminga's numbers are a little bit better, and we're just going to try to make, even if it is only a slight upgrade, an upgrade nonetheless, according to 2K, because I have to change something up, right? I can't just run it back again. That's pretty much the definition of insanity. So Johnson and Jet Howard is what I'm offering right now. Obviously, we can't take the draft picks with us, so we'll just include them. And we are now at a spot where, I mean, we still have a really solid 10-man rotation, but hopefully it's good enough. You know what I'm saying? It is a last-minute blockbuster, and it is a big one. I was not anticipating moving on from Franz Wagner, but I wanted to just check one last time the trade finder, see what was out there, and ultimately landed on this. Now, I fully understand that this is not going to be a conventional starting 5 or even bench unit, but Cade Cunningham is an upgrade over Franz Wagner, and he is going to take over at my point guard spot, or shooting guard, I'm not really sure. We're going to be swapping out Peyton Watson for Jeremy Sohan. That is another upgrade, so I wanted to make another big move, and ultimately that kind of just landed in my lap. So I'm probably going to be playing 6'4" Jalen Green at the small forward spot. I think Tyrese Maxey maybe fits the shooting guard mold a little bit better than Cunningham, but Cunningham's also taller and goes up in overall. So yeah, was not expecting that at all. It is a little bit risky for sure. There's no other way to describe it, but we now have our new 10-man rotation. That offseason did not go according to plan whatsoever. We obviously were given a curveball. Ended up, I'd say, hitting a triple. I don't think it's a home run because there is obviously still a little bit of risk involved just with the way this team fits, and we did have a really good thing going, and although I am pretty high on Franz Wagner, I do think we got this team to a better point. So Tyrese Maxey, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, Jonathan Kuminga, and Jalen Duren. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind this is an undersized 1 through 5, right? There's no other, I mean, Jonathan Kuminga is what, 6'6", 6'7"? He's playing our power forward spot. Jalen Green is 6'4", playing the small forward spot, so it's risky. There's no other way to say it, but you got to take risks. Hopefully this one pays off. Deuce McBride will remain my 6th man here. Jeremy Sohan is obviously a new addition. He takes over as the 7th man. Still got Isaac Okoro, Kel Ware, and then Colby Jones, who was a new addition. So let's check this one more time. 23, 21, 24, 22, 25, 21, 23, 23, and 24. We are, and 24. We are obviously all set. It is now my hope that the team is good enough to win a championship. I'd like to at least reach an Eastern Conference Finals, right? I'll see you guys at the end of year 3. Year 3 sees us finish with our best record yet, but I am still a little bit nervous. Now, we do go 61-21, which is clearly a very, very good season. Of course, we are playing for the playoffs at this point. Wemby, he is your MVP in his 3rd regular season. That's insane. Dylan Harper, your Rookie of the Year. Cooper Flagg is a 6th man in Denver. Wemby wins his 3rd straight depoy, 3 years in the league, 3 depoys. Carlton Carrington, Most Improved. Anthony Edwards, also in Denver. Oh, my God. He's your Clutch Player of the Year. And Mr. Joe Mazzulla, 2nd straight Coach of the Year for us this time with Joe. All right, we are the 1 seed here. No surprise. Cleveland only 5 games behind us. San Antonio only 3 games behind us, but it is the best record in the league. Diving into the numbers a little bit, everything here is looking pretty good, right? I mean, I'm not really too surprised with anything, and, you know, everything's looked good for many years now, but we have yet to make an Eastern Conference Finals. Us and the Charlotte Hornets, Evan Mobley. Tried to get him. Didn't work. Devin Booker, Jared Allen. This is a really big pain in the ass for an 8 seed and a first-round matchup and that, but let's see. Here goes nothing. Oh, my God. Don't do this to me, 2K. Please don't. Oh, my God. Do not. Thank you. We now move on to the Eastern Conference semifinals. Obviously not the start we were looking for. SGA is a 99. Dyson Daniels, MPJ, Patrick Williams, DeAndre Ayton. Pretty sure the Pistons have gone back-to-back. So we are obviously facing a very talented team here, and this game loves SGA so fucking much. Wow. Not my day. It's actually not been my week. I've had a really, really rough week in terms of success. And was that a blown 3-0 lead? It might have been. In terms of success in these rebuilds. And it hasn't gone my way. I thought this team was certainly talented enough, but I guess 2K disagrees with me. All right, well, yeah, did not go the way I wanted it to, and ultimately I failed again. Wow. Brought back some rebuild challenges, and they have not been too successful for your boy over here. So I will work on it obviously before 2K25 when I succeed in at least a couple of these rebuild challenges, and we will see what we can do with that. So let me know any other rebuild ideas down below in the comment section. You guys have seen this one on Thursday. Tomorrow will be the video of me reacting to your NBA hot takes. So this is one final reminder because I think when you're seeing this at 5 Eastern. In about 7 hours, I'm going to, close the comment section, if you will. And also one last reminder, it is only hot takes for the upcoming NBA season. I've already seen a lot of comments that are just hot NBA takes in general. So I'm only reacting to hot takes for the upcoming NBA season. Just a heads up. All right, man. That is it for me. As always, thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.